Okay, so picture this. The sun's just dipped below the horizon, the air is starting to cool, and the day's safari is winding down. But that's when a different kind of safari kicks off. This is your guide to the night sky safari for April 2026, and believe me, it's going to be a special one for us here in Southern Africa. You know, the show is definitely not over when the sun sets. The sky above us? It's a whole other wilderness. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the tools to be its storyteller. We'll get into the visiting comets, some pretty spectacular meteor showers, and the planets that are going to make April 2026 truly unforgettable for your guests. All right, so here's our game plan for tonight's journey. We'll start with why April 2026 is such a big deal. Then we'll walk through what's happening in the evening sky, then the real midnight show, and even a little something for the early risers. We'll also clear up a few common myths and get you totally ready for those guest questions. Let's get into it. So, first things first. Why all the fuss about this particular April? Well, we're getting a double comet display, which is incredibly rare. And the best part? We, right here in the Southern Hemisphere, have the best seats in the house. For us, these comets are going to be higher up in much darker skies, meaning we get a view that's way clearer and more spectacular than anyone in the north. All right, let's meet our two main attractions. Think of comets as these giant, dusty snowballs zipping through space. First up, we've got the Easter comet putting on its best show at the start of the month. Then, later in April, Comet PanSTARRS makes its appearance. Two completely different cosmic visitors in 1 month. That's a real treat. Okay, let's talk about that magical time right after the sun dips below the horizon. There are some really brilliant, easy-to-spot things up there that are going to absolutely wow your guests. So, the very first thing you or your guests are going to notice is that crazy bright light hanging in the west. It's not a star, and it's definitely not a plane. That is the planet Venus. All through April, it's just going to be this blazing beacon in the evening sky. You can't miss it, and it's a fantastic place to start your tour of the night sky. Okay, get your calendars out and circle April 19th. Seriously, on this one night, you're going to see this beautiful little get-together in the sky. You'll have the thin crescent moon, that sparkly Pleiades star cluster, and the super bright planet Venus all hanging out close to each other. It's a perfect photo op and just a stunning sight to see. Just look to the west-northwest right after sunset. Now, here's something really cool to point out, a bit of a pro-level spot for your guests. On nights with just a sliver of a moon, like around the 19th, tell your guests to look really closely at the dark part of it. They might just see a faint glow. That's called Earthshine. It's actually sunlight bouncing off our Earth, flying through space, and lighting up the moon. It's a beautiful thing to see. All right, so the early evening show has wrapped up. But for the true stargazers, or maybe those of you out on a late-night drive, the main event is just about to kick off. Let's talk about the midnight showstoppers, meteor showers. So what is a meteor shower really? The easiest way to think about it is like our planet is a 4x4, and we're driving through a big cloud of cosmic dust that a comet left behind. As we plow through it, all those tiny bits of dust hit our atmosphere and burn up, creating those beautiful streaks of light we call shooting stars. In April 2026, we've actually got 3 showers going on. Now, as you can see from the chart, the pie puppets, well, they're not putting on much of a show. The main event for April is definitely the Lyrids, but keep an eye on those Eta Aquariids near the end of the month. They're just the opening act for their much bigger show that peaks in May. Okay, let's zoom in on the headliner, the Lyrid meteor shower. The absolute best time to watch is the night of April 21st, stretching into the early morning of the 22nd. You'll want to look towards the north, and make sure you do it after midnight. And here's the best part. The moon is just a tiny sliver then, so the sky will be perfectly dark. Ideal conditions for a great show. But wait, the night's not quite over. For those guests who are up before the sun, getting ready for that chilly morning game drive, there's one last act to catch in the pre-dawn sky. So here's your quick checklist for the early birds. First, you can start catching the first few meteors from that really powerful Eta Aquarid shower. They'll start showing up around April 21st. Second, for just a couple of days on April 3rd and 4th, you might get lucky and spot the elusive planet Mercury really low in the east just before sunrise. And finally, the absolute best time for that jaw-dropping view of the Milky Way, that's going to be around the new moon on April 17th. And while we're talking about the Milky Way, this is your chance to really connect the stars to the ground beneath your feet. You can share that beautiful story from the Khoikhoi and San people who saw the Milky Way as ashes and glowing roots from a fire tossed into the sky by a girl. Sharing a story like that, it transforms stargazing from just looking into a real, meaningful experience. All right, you know how it is. Guests have heard all sorts of things about the sky, so let's quickly tackle a couple of common myths so you have the straight facts ready to go. First one, the pink moon on April 2nd. You're definitely going to get asked, is the moon actually going to be pink? And the simple answer is nope. It's a lovely name, but it actually comes from the pink wildflowers that bloom in the spring in the Northern Hemisphere. It won't change color for us at all. And here's the big one. Is a shooting star a real star falling out of the sky? No way. And honestly, the truth is even cooler. That incredible streak of light you see is caused by a tiny piece of cosmic dust, often no bigger than a single grain of sand, hitting our atmosphere at an incredible speed and just vaporizing. A tiny speck putting on a huge show. Okay, let's get you ready for the field. Here are some quick, natural answers to the questions that you are almost guaranteed to get from your guests when you're out there under the stars. So when a guest points to that unbelievably bright light in the evening and asks, "What is that star?" you can smile and say, "Well, that's actually not a star at all. It's the planet Venus." The reason it's so bright is because it's covered in these thick clouds that are amazing at reflecting sunlight, almost like a giant mirror in the sky. This is a fantastic question, and it lets you tie two things together. Someone asks, is a comet the same as a shooting star? You can say, that's a great question. They're actually related. The comet is the big, dirty snowball that we can see for weeks. The shooting star is just a tiny crumb that fell off that comet, burning up in a split second. All right, let's boil it all down. If you remember nothing else, remember this for April 2026. You've got that rare double comet right after sunset. Get ready for the Lyrid meteor shower peaking on the 21st and 22nd. Don't miss that beautiful cosmic get-together on the 19th. And remember, get away from any lights, especially around the new moon on the 17th for the absolute best views. So, at the end of the day, just remember this. The sky above you isn't just empty space. It's a second wilderness. It's got its own seasons, its own migrations, its own incredible stories, just like the bushveld all around you. So the only real question is, which of its stories are you going to tell first?